So if you've been following the FTX scandal, you would know Nishad Singh. He is part of the FTX inner circle, and now his name is starting to appear in headlines as he is being pulled into the mix. He's been kind of missing, which a lot of FTX people have been, but basically they've just been hanging low, probably talking to the feds and working out deals. And as it turns out, as we've been talking about, he is rumored to be in a proffer session. So the basic gist of it is that the Fed comes and talks to you, basically says, hey, what do you know? Let's work a deal. And one of the things, interesting thing about this is that if they do in fact work a deal, it seems like this would be number 3 person to go against Sam Bankman-Fried. Remember, Gary Wong and Carolyn Ellison basically did guilty pleas, made a deal right with the feds, and now they're talking to Nishad Singh. Now, it's interesting because I was looking at this article, and basically they only named these 4 people as being part of the inner circle. And if in fact, 3 against 1, I don't know. I mean, why is Sam Bankman-Fried pleading not guilty? It's kind of interesting when all of your basically former friends, I say former friends, I mean, I'm sure you guys understand this. So in Sam Bankman-Fried's defense, he's hired an experienced legal team. In fact, these people have defended El Chapo and also Ghislaine Maxwell, who was involved with the Epstein thing. And if you don't know El Chapo, he's essentially a big drug lord in all kinds of crimes. However, with this legal team, they didn't have such great, success in the past. You can say El Chapo was found guilty, got life, and Maxwell got 20 years. So this probably doesn't bode so great for Sam Bankman-Fried. But to be fair, whoever lawyers you get, if he did the crime and you basically stole a bunch of money from a lot of people, and your colleagues are now going against you, it's going to be really tough. However, we'll see what happens. He, can work out a deal or something like that. I know the trial is supposed to be set, I believe, in October. But there's a lot of time from now until then. Regarding FTX's sort of assets and existing business, I guess there are people out there who are interested in buying up some of these things. It would be something like FTX Europe, FTX Japan. They could probably buy it and rename it because I'm sure the FTX brand name is tarnished. I'm sure you guys know. And they were saying here that there's like over 100 parties that are interested. So we'll see what happens with that, and I'll update you guys on that kind of stuff. The other thing too, which is fascinating as well, is like all the people who took money from FTX, right? What should they do with the money? Can they give it back or not? And what if he gave it to charity? Should they give it back? So that's an interesting discussion. And what if said, places had already spent the money? So this is something that we're going to be tracking also. So if you're a crypto bull or just crypto curious, you can follow along with this case because this particular FTX case will have a lot of ramifications for the crypto industry in the future. I myself am not a bull on this stuff. However, I do follow this because it is interesting to track and is dealing with a lot of money and also has to affect a lot of people's lives. So we'll track this together. Some of the people we haven't heard from yet is Ryan Salame. You guys probably know this. I made a video about it before. I'll put a link down below. But basically, he was the co-CEO and also involved with giving a lot of money to political parties. Both him and Sam Bankman-Fried were giving money to both parties. And I do emphasize that because sometimes people act like they weren't, but they were. And I showed you guys the proof, and please watch the video if you haven't. But we haven't heard from Ryan yet. And it'll be interesting because basically what's going on is employees probably are talking to the feds. I say probably because I don't know who is talking for sure, but I just imagine that's what's going on. And if you haven't heard the interview I did with a former FTX employee, I'll also put a link down below. You should check that out. But to give you sort of a sense of what was going on inside. Now, but there might be some people, like for example, this person, Brett Harrison. He was essentially in charge of FTX US, and he said later he'll spill the beans because it is certainly the case that some people like him may also work out deals and then come out unscathed, whereas people like, say, Nishad Singh may, no matter what he does, give whatever deal he takes, it'll be hard for him to avoid a guilty plea because you're so deeply embedded. So everyone's going to depend on how much they knew and when they knew it. Now, in terms of the Bahamas, this was a really bizarre one, but you can see the picture there. But evidently, the article is basically about the sort of economic effects that FTX had on the Bahamian businesses. So, for example, there was like a bar where the FTX people would just go and they would just charge stuff all the time, and they would go to the local businesses and stay at hotels, eat at restaurants, these kind of things. So people in the Bahamas, whether or not they like FTX or not, they do like their business, right? Whether or not they like crypto or not, they do like their business, and so they will be missed. And this is sort of an article was about that. Now, what's going on with the YouTubers that were all pumping FTX? So this is Creators Agency. Don't forget about these people. They've changed their website. As you can see here, so at the top line, now you got Andre Geek, Minority Mindset, Erica Kolberg, who's one of the founders, Although last I checked, she removed her name from being a founder, but she's still there on the website. Now they got this new person, Jake Carlini. Missing from their front page is Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan. So I have no word if either of them are still working with, but I did see Graham Stephan's name still on the website, just his picture's not there. But I do want to mention though these people because we'll see if they're going to face consequences or not for basically pushing a Ponzi scheme. And it was interesting because there was an article basically just that came out today. You can read the title. No one will escape the FTX fallout, and that's why I mentioned those potentially influencers, because essentially what's going on here, that the Ponzi doesn't work unless you drag a whole bunch of people in it. And we'll see if those other people are indeed implicated in said thing. So anyway, that's an update on FTX. Love to hear your opinion on this thing. What do you think about Nishad Singh cutting a deal? What do you think about the proffer session? And if you were him, should you make a deal with the feds and just go along and turn against Sam Bankman-Fried? Or do you think that you should plead not guilty and try to fight it? So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this thing, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.